guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the mid-year book freakout tag. I have been doing this for a very long time since I've been on my channel. I have one going back to all the way to 2017, so this is a tried and true classic tag on BookTube, and it's just a way to check in the middle of the year. I did wait until the end of June because 6 months is half the year and we haven't even gotten through all of June yet and everyone's posting there, so I wanted to make sure I got as much reading in as I could. So I think today's the 25th. I don't even know the date anymore now that it's summer and I don't have to pay attention to what like actual date it is because I write it on the board every day when I'm teaching, but oh, it's the 26th. I didn't know that, so it is the 26th today. I figured it was a good time to do this tag, so I'll go ahead and get to all the questions and my answers about my reading so far. I have up to today read 196 books, I think, which is crazy. I've been reading a ton, audiobooks help a lot. But the first question is my favorite book of 2021. I am going to do a video where I talk about my favorite romances of 2021. I've already done my favorite historical romances of the year. I'll go ahead and link that down below. I'm sorry. It looks like my eyes are watering. I just coughed really bad. Okay, it's all right. So I couldn't like narrow this down. So I have 6 favorites. Oh my gosh, 6 favorites of the year, and some of them are historicals, and I will link my favorite historicals of 2021 so far down below if you want to see. And then, like I said, my favorite romances of the year is going to come out soon, but I did a couple different ones. So one of the most recent favorites of mine, I have a vlog coming out soon, is Ancient Lies by Gianna Darling. I was just shocked by how much I absolutely loved this book. I love Gianna Darling, it's no surprise, but this one might be my favorite of the series over Zeus's book. I know, but this is Nova's book, Nova and Lila, and Lila has really bad parents and Dane is her older brother. He's older by 11 years and Nova is the same age as her brother, and when she's like 6 her parents die and it's very traumatizing, and then Nova's family pretty much adopts her, which is like, oh my gosh, it's like her foster brother, but it's not because he only lives with them for like a year, so when she's like 7, and then he's 18 and he moves out on his own, and their romance doesn't actually happen until she's 23, I believe, 23 or 24. So I thought that the age gap was done really well. It never felt weird to me. Like, it felt totally believable. Nova was trying to push her away because he's like, you can do so much better than me. And Lila was like, no, it's always been you. Like, I've always been in love with you and I've always known you were the one. And she tried to move on. But there's also, she's trying to like infiltrate the enemy of the Fallen MC. This is a motorcycle romance, it's the Fallen Men series. It's amazing. I adored every single page. I read it an entire day, like could not put it down. So like I said, my reading vlog's coming out soon of this. Love this one so much. This is going to be an answer for a different book later on too. But I also have the Risk series by St. Abbey. It's 5 books. I read all 5 of them. They're like 100 pages each, and then the last couple are like 130 pages. This series is so good. It is a serial killer and FBI profiler romance. He is a profiler, she's a serial killer, but she's killing men who've wronged her in her past, and through each book we slowly unravel what happened in her past and what these men actually did to her. It's so good, and she just has now this like murder tendency. She like needs to murder people now, and he really ends up being the one to hold on to her humanity without knowing it, because he's still trying to track her down as a serial killer but doesn't know she's a serial killer, and then he's working on other cases as well. It is phenomenal. I couldn't put it down, and I also learned that this author has a couple other pen names, including the series that Lacey's been obsessed with, so I'm excited to read more from this author. If you've been watching me the past couple months, you know Forget Me Not's gonna be on here. This one is absolutely amazing. The man gets amnesia, and it is a marriage and trouble romance. So our hero and heroine have been married for a while, but it's really rocky now. It has to do with having children, so make sure you know that going in. But what happens is they are literally like weeks away from divorce, and he gets into an accident and loses his memory of the last like 5 years. So in his mind, they are still madly in love, and there is cheating. He cheated on her in that like past, and he doesn't remember, and he's like heartbroken. He's like, there's no way I could have ever cheated on her. She is the love of my life. Like, what did I do? And it's reconciling their marriage. It's amazing. I love this so much. Then a fantasy I loved is The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel Jensen. This one I did give 4.5 stars, but I also love the second one a lot, so that's why I'm putting out my favorites, because it was so just good, and I need more fantasy romances in my life. And this one, our heroine's been raised pretty much since birth with all of her sisters to be an assassin and murder the king they're supposed to all marry. Like, one of them's gonna be chosen to marry this guy, and they're supposed to like marry him and then figure out the secrets of his kingdom and kill him. And the second one was so good. The reason I didn't give it a full 5 stars is because the romance was so slow burn and like nothing happened until like the end, and in both books it was very slow burn and I was just like dying. But I think it was just so well done that it's definitely stuck with me and is definitely a favorite of the year. 2 favorite historicals of mine is My Darling Duke by Stacey Reid and If the Duke Demands by Anna Harrington. I've talked about these all the time. This one's a scarred hero. She says that she's married to him or like betrothed to him even though no one's seen him in society for like 10 years, and he is very interested to see who this woman is who's claiming to be married to him. She's just trying to get a good name for herself so her sisters can get good marriages, and he is confined to a wheelchair a lot because of his scarring and his limited ability to use his limbs because of this fire he was in. It's amazing. And then If the Duke Demands, she is trying to seduce the Duke's brother because she's like really into him and goes to the wrong room, tries to seduce the wrong man. He realizes it and he's like, oh my gosh, and so realizes she's in love with his brother, so he's like, I'll help you get my brother if you help me find a perfect wife, because he feels like he needs to do the dukedom service because his dad, when his dad was dying, he was like off being a playboy and feels so bad now and is taking his role like very seriously as Duke, so they fall in love with each other instead. It's amazing. I love this. I've only talked about the first question, but I will go on to the next question, which is the best sequel you've read. So I have 3 for this one. First is Act Your Age, Eve Brown. I love the series. This one was just another amazing addition to the series. Everybody's been putting this in their video. You can't not put Talia Hibbert in your videos if you're a romance reader and you've been reading her, I feel like, because last year Dani Brown was in my top of the year. I don't think Eve Brown is in my top. I liked Dani Brown better, but this one was just adorable. Also, Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. This one is a historical romance. Our heroine's deaf. It's a marriage of convenience. She has to go marry the laird of the rival clan, and it is so sweet how his sister kind of realizes like, oh, she's actually deaf, because they just think that she lost her like mental abilities when she was in an accident and lost her hearing, and she's let people think that, but really she's very intelligent, can read lips. They fall in love. It was so good. And then I'm going to count books 2 and 3 of the Kimora Chronicles because I read the first 3 books of the Kimora Chronicles and I'm obsessed, and this really could be up in my top of the year. This one is our capo story of the Kimora, and he kidnaps the daughter of a rival mafia group, and it's her wedding day and he kidnaps her, and then she literally falls for him when she's kidnapped by him and feels awful about it because she's like, you are literally my enemy, but I'm kind of feeling it, and it's so good. And he is definitely like not a good guy. So I really love this. I'm so happy that I finally picked this series up, and I have to finish the series because there's 3 more books in it and I haven't got to them yet, but I just flew through these audiobooks. They're amazing. The next question are new releases you haven't gotten to yet. I have a lot. The first one is Neon Gods. This one just released though, so it's okay that I haven't gotten to it yet. This one everybody raves about, so I really need to get to this. It's Haiti and Persephone retelling. Sounds amazing. Then there is also The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. This one is a road trip romance in Scotland all the way to a wedding with exes, and I've been meaning to read this. I just haven't been absolutely loving contemporary traditionally published romances, so I've just been binging all indie romances and historical romances because these have not been hitting the spot. So I'm hoping it does and it doesn't let me down, but we'll see. And the last one, I forgot to grab it. It is Scoundrel of My Heart by Lorraine Heath. I bought this from Barnes & Noble because Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life was raving about it. I don't even remember what the plot is, but I know a couple other people have read this one and said they really loved it, so I'm hoping to pick this up for the historical romance readathon, but if not, I definitely have to pick this up soon because it's a historical that I really want to get to, and I need to read more Lorraine Heath. Next is my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. I have a million, and I have a few I'm going to talk about. So I have Uncharted by Adriana Anders. This is book 2 in the, I don't even remember what the series is called. The first one, they were in Antarctica and having to survive together, and I loved it, so I'm excited to see where things go. I want to read more romantic suspense, so I'm excited for this. I do have the e-arc of this. I also have the e-arc of All the Feels by Olivia Dade. I love, spoiler alert, and this one I think is the actor's assistant with another actor. I think it was with his friend, and I'm very excited for that one. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. I have an e-arc of this one as well. I'm very excited for it. I don't know really too much about the plot. I don't really want to know because I just want to read it. We've been waiting for this book for like 2 years now, so I'm excited for that. XOXO by Axio. This one I was sent from the publisher because of the author, and I'm so thankful to have gotten this. This one actually comes out in July, but our heroine is a cello prodigy, and she meets a guy at her uncle's karaoke bar in LA, fiance. They really hit it off. She goes to South Korea for music school and sees the boy that she had that day with, and it ends up being he is a K-pop star, and it's against the rules to date since he is a huge K-pop group. So they obviously like each other. I'm so excited to read this one. Then we have The Fastest Way to Fall. I'm blanking on the author's name, but I know I read her first book and really loved it, and this one is a woman's relationship with her personal trainer, I think, and I really love working out. I run every day, or I do a workout video, so I'm really into being active, so I'm really excited to read a romance about that. So the cover's really pretty as well, so I'm excited for that. We also have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This one, our heroine is a scientist, and she is a PhD candidate, and she like tells people that she has a boyfriend and like kisses the first guy that walks in the room, and it's a young hotshot professor. So they end up fake dating, I think. I'm really excited for this. And then the last one I have is The Royals Next Door by Karina Halley. I love Karina Halley so much, so I'm excited to read this one. This one is with Berkeley, I believe, yes, and it is a bodyguard romance. She falls in love with the Royals bodyguard, and they like move in next door, and they think that she is like a threat or something, so the bodyguard has to spend time with her, and it sounds really good. Biggest disappointment of the year. The first one's gonna be the first book I read this year, and that's Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. No, this one, it's just like the heroine just like would walk around and like answers would fall into her lap, and I felt like the romance was not it for me, and so much more could have been done with like they're like the princes of hell, and it's like the 7 deadly sins, I think. So much more could have been done with that, and it wasn't, and I just didn't like this at all. I gave it 2 stars. People love it. It just wasn't for me. And then we have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. We read this for the Ravished by Romance book club I run with Lacey, and it's huge on TikTok. It's Hades and Persephone. The writing was not for me. I really didn't like the writing. I really didn't like the romance. I didn't like the heroine. I just didn't like it. I was in the minority though. It seems like everybody absolutely loves this book, and I think Lacey gave it 4 stars. I was not a fan. Not impressed with this author. Probably won't be reading anything else by her. Biggest surprise, the first one is Beautiful and Dirty by Katrina Jackson, and book 2, which is The Hitman. I was shocked by liking the first book because it was a novella, and I typically don't love novellas, but it was very surprising how much I fell in love with the novella. And then The Hitman is about a hitman on the run. He is at a like resort on vacation, and the woman, she figured out that her fiance was cheating on her with 2 people, and so she goes on their honeymoon alone and meets him, and then they go on the run together. It's a lot of fun. I just really love them, and I was surprised how much I love them. And then the other one I was surprised by is Hate by Tate James. This is a reverse harem. I don't read reverse harem, but this was so much fun, and I've already read book 2, and I have book 3 now from the library. It finally came in, so I can't put the series down. She ends up having to like go out of the country based on what happened. She was like framed for something in the beginning. It was kind of like Devil's Night from Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. It's like, I forget what it's called. It's not Hate Night. Oh, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a night where everyone goes like crazy, and it's like around Halloween, or it is on Halloween, and something happens, and these guys pretty much blame her for what happened, or like are the reason that she gets in trouble for it, so she hates them. She goes away for a year, comes back, and it's her dad is married now, and one of the guys is the woman's son, and the son and the friends are all staying at the house with her, and then the dad's not there, so it's just her and these 3 guys staying in the same house together. So lots of fun, lots of secrets. She's got a stalker. It was really cool. Her mom died. They're trying to figure out who had murdered her mom when she was young, so really like that, surprisingly. Then we have favorite new author. I have 4. QB Tyler's one of them. I just am obsessed with this book. I read another book by hers that I didn't love, but that's because it was too taboo for me, so I'm sticking with her adult romances. She's definitely a favorite author that I can't wait to read more from. Then we have Scarlett Peckham. I love the Ray Hess. I love the Duke I Tempted. I just can't get enough of her writing, so I'm really excited to read book 2 in that series, and waiting for book 2 to release in this series. It's supposed to release in spring, and it never came out, but I really loved this book, so she's a new favorite author, definitely. Jack Harbin's another new favorite author. I don't really give his books 5 stars, but I just eat his books up like candy. They're so good. Meet Cute Club was just adorable. I read His Beauty, which was a lot of fun. It was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I just read Babysitter, which was a 40-page novella, and I just know if I want something that's gonna be just really good, I need to read his books like that I can escape into, so I am really happy that I discovered him this year. And then we have Sophie Lark. I've read 2 Sophie Larks so far, and I am so excited to pick up more from her because this was amazing. Book 2, the beginning, I was a little hesitant on because it was really slow, but then I absolutely loved book 2, and so I've already bought a couple more of her books. I need to read more. I'm obsessed. I love her. Thank you, Jen from the Book Refuge, for introducing me to Sophie Lark. New fictional crush, I don't know. Maybe Nova from Inked in Lies. I don't know. Do I dare say Ramo from Twisted Pride, because I love this book, but I really did also love book 2. Like, that hero, I loved him. But then I also loved it here in Bridge Kingdom, so I don't know. I love all these heroes. I don't know if I would necessarily say they're like crushes, but these are heroes that I really loved reading. Then we have Made You Cry, the first book that like literally is the only one this year I think that made me just like sob was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This one was so good, and I understand why people absolutely love this book now, because how heartbreaking was that ending? Oh my gosh, like when something happened to one character, then the other character, then another character, I was sobbing in this book. It was so good. I loved it. I don't know why it took me so long to read it, because of the hype, honestly, but it was worth the hype. It was so good. And then Inked in Lies is the other one I cried in. I was crying like 90 pages in, and then like 120 pages in, I was crying again, because this one just built up these characters so well, and they lost someone, and there's kind of like the found family they have with Nova's family. Oh my gosh, it hit me so hard and I loved it. Then we have a book that made you happy, and the first one's gonna be the Heartstopper series. This series is adorable. I've read the first 3 already, and I really need to get volume 4. I don't know if it's out in the US yet. I'm gonna have to check, but I think they're online. I don't know, but the first 3 I got from the library, and they are phenomenal. So cute and adorable, and you just want them to be happy. You just want to hug them so much. I love this, and I'm very excited that it's going to be a series. I'm pretty sure they just finished filming season 1, so I'm beyond excited to see that come on the screen. And then we have In Deep Waters by F.T. Lukens. This one is another MM story, but this one was adorable, you guys. This is fantasy historical fiction, and one of them is a prince, and the other one is found in like pirate wreckage, and there's a fantasy element to it though, which I don't want to spoil, and it was so good. Our characters were adorable. Our prince just wants to belong. He feels like everyone judges him and is scared of him because of his magic, because there was a king before him who tried to like pretty much take over the world with his magic. So people are terrified of magic, they're terrified of him, and he falls in love with this boy, and then he's also grappling with his family and like where he belongs in his family. This was so good and just so adorable, and I just loved it, and you guys should read it. Then we have the most beautiful book you bought, and I'm gonna go with this version of, what is it even called? The Flame and the Flower. I almost called The Flowers of the Storm. That's a different one. The Flame and the Flower by Kathleen Woodowis. I have not found a lot of information about these. I've only found like a blog post from a couple years ago, so I don't even know what was published in these. These are the classics of romance, and it's stunning. It is The Flame and the Flower, and so it has the step back on the inside and the title, and then it has an introduction by, I believe, Kathleen. Yes, and so this one was published in 1995, and it doesn't say anything else about these. I was trying to find more about them, and I found it at Half Price Books. So this is absolutely stunning. It's like a classic bound edition of a historical romance, and they did a couple more of these, but I'm excited that I have this. And then we're gonna end off by books I need to read this year, and I have 6. So they're all indie published. 3 of them are ones I got at Target's buy 2 get 1 free sale. So the first 3 are the Maid series by Danielle Laurie. I've heard nothing but amazing things about these. I'm so in the mood for dark mafia romances right now. That's all I want to read. So after the historical romance readathon, these are one of the first things I'm going to be reading in July. You can bet on it, because I cannot wait to read them. We also have Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This one is not as dark, I think, as people like say it is or it's marketed as, but he is a billionaire, I think, or a millionaire. He's rich, and it kind of seems like he's part of the mafia, but not really. And that's all I know, but I think the second one's going to be a bodyguard romance and a royalty romance. So I'm very excited to read this one. I've heard good things. Then I have The Doctor by Nikki Sloan, which is a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend's dad. I've heard amazing things about Nikki Sloan. I want to read The Pool Boy too, so I want to get to this. And then I really need to read The Evolution of Sin series by Gianna Darling. Target only had book 2, so I went ahead and picked it up, but I really want to finish reading Gianna's backlist, because I have 4 books left I have to read by her, not including Sloth, which I don't know if I'm going to read, because that was book like 5 or 6 in the series that she wrote as a part of, and it's a novella, and I don't know if I can just jump in and read that one without reading the rest, because I don't really want to read the rest. I read book 1 and didn't really like it, so I do want to read this series though. This is her first series she wrote. It's pretty short though. Oh, I guess it's 300 pages. It just looks short, but I need to read more by her, and then film an author guide for you guys, because I love her. But that's all I have. Let me know down below your favorite book of the year, maybe your worst book of the year. I don't know, but I definitely want to know your favorite book of the year and what you thought of my answers. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.